guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you all about my nighttime regime. Now, this has completely transformed how I sleep, how I feel in the morning, my energy levels, my overall kind of lack of anxiety. There's not an area that it hasn't affected, and I think that's because sleep is one of the most incredible things. It is where our body heals, it repairs, it kind of processes things. If we don't sleep enough, we often end up overeating. Our skin isn't as good, our energy is low, our mood is down, we're not concentrating as hard as we can at our jobs. So we need to put more emphasis on sleep, and I think often people are like, you know, I'll sleep when I'm dead, or sleeping's like, I don't need it, I can only have 5 hours sleep. But actually I really think that we need more than that, around 7 to 8 hours. I think everyone's different, you know, you've got to find what's right for you. But this wind down regime that I've been doing in the evenings has really allowed me to get to a nice natural state of sleep. Now, I am not one of those very lucky people who hits the bed and they're like, you know, completely fallen asleep. Like, I wish I was one of those people, because it's an amazing skill to have. But having this wind down time where I kind of get to relax my body has made a huge difference in terms of me being able to fall asleep, because I'm someone that can maybe lie in bed for 1-2 hours just waiting to fall asleep. I mean, it's a long time, I know, but honestly it happens to me a lot. I'm not someone that like hits the pillow and switches off. But what I think this wind down regime has done is almost started to tell my body like, okay, it's evening now, it's time to kind of rest and chill, and let's do it now. My wind down regime starts at around 9ish, and I say ish because it depends on the night. Love Island might be on, you know, watching a good movie, dinner is eaten late. So it's kind of at a point of time where like I finished maybe watching TV or having dinner or whatever I was doing that evening, and I'm now having a bit of time where I can like relax. So the first thing that I do is to put away all electronics. My phone, my laptop, they go on the charger downstairs away. Now, I know that's really difficult for many people because they use their phone as an alarm. They need to check it at all times. Now, you can obviously still leave it on loud in case there's an emergency, and I would really recommend buying an alarm clock in your room so you're not using your phone as an alarm, because looking at your phone before you go to bed can cause so much anxiety. Looking at someone having so much fun, like in Marbella on the beach, while you're like at home in your undies brushing your teeth, isn't necessarily going to make you feel good. So I really want you to try and see this time before you go to bed as this nourishing, self-loving, like beautiful time that you're like just having for you, that's telling your body that you're going to go into a state of sleep. It's allowing you to kind of disconnect from the world. The thing is every time we see something on social media or an email, it's a hit of adrenaline. It's fun, it's interesting, it's exciting, it's nerve-wracking. What could it be? What could they say? But it's not a great thing to have before we go to sleep. So ditch the phone, put it down somewhere far, far away. So I do that first, then I go into my bathroom and I wash my face and I brush my teeth. And then I come into my boudoir and I put my legs up the wall. Now Kieran loves doing this as well, so we'll just both put our legs up the wall. And what that does is it's a very restorative pose, often used in yoga. It's an inversion, it's very grounding, it's very calming. I'll do it for 10 minutes. While I'm doing it, I'll just do some really deep, relaxing belly breaths, just breathing in, breathing out for about 10 minutes. And that just sort of like settles me down. And then another key thing is lighting. So our body is very sensitive to light, and if we have huge bright lights on, our body is very stimulated. So I normally use the dimmer switch and turn down the lights a little so it's soft, it's calm, it makes me feel sort of relaxed and easy. And then once I've turned down the lights, I'll then do some reading. Now, I love reading before I go to bed. I've got a whole list of books. I mean, I'm obsessed with buying books. I think it's like an addiction. I'm buying like 3 a week and I read like to a month. So, or maybe not even to a month. So I really got to calm down on the buying and do more of the reading. So I've been reading a book on sleep. It's called Sleep Mode, and it was there was a huge emphasis on this wind down period. So it's very much where I got my inspiration for this. It made sense to me, you know, when you read something or hear something and you go, that totally makes sense, and it's not what I do, because most of us work till 10, 11, midnight, and then try and go to sleep, and we can't. So this wind down period is that gap between busy, fun activity and sleep, where you're kind of calming yourself. So I'll do some reading before I go to bed. Again, it depends what time I start my wind down routine. I always think that you should look at what time you're waking up. So if you wake up at 6 a.m, try and go to bed at 10 p.m. If you're waking up at 7, 11, like, you know, just so you've got those 8 hours. And some people only need 7, so, you know, you can always go to bed an hour later if that's the right amount of time and sleep for you. So I'll read a little bit in bed on a low light setting, and then I'll go to sleep with a few key things. 1, blackout blinds down. 2, an eye mask. Yes, I've got blackout blinds and an eye mask, but sometimes that sneaky light sort of peeps through. Earplugs as well, because it blocks out the noise. Even though the street that we live on is really quiet, there's actually no cars outside it, it's still, you know, you get noise pollution from blooming planes flying over, and, you know, traffic and people and all sorts of stuff. So it's really nice to have the earplugs in, just to block that out. So this kind of really winds me down. I'll have all my pieces together, and then the thing that I always do just before I go to bed is write a to-do list for the next day. Now this is a really good way of dumping everything that's on my mind down onto a piece of paper. So I'll write out, you know, personal to do, whether it's like picking up dry cleaning or some toothpaste. I'll write work to do, whether it's how many videos I need to edit, or a blog I need to write, or a recipe post. I'll write down things for Shay, you know, do I need to pick up some clothes for him? Do I need to buy some, I don't know, shampoo? You know, things for him. And I'll write that all down, and it just means that when I go to sleep, I can know that all those action points are there and I don't have to worry about them. And I've also got that piece of paper and pen by my bed, so that if something suddenly comes into my head at night, I can just scribble it down. Sometimes I read it in the morning and I'm like, what did that say? But the whole thing is that, you know, I really have no stresses on my mind when I go to bed, and I think that's a huge thing, because you don't want to be sitting there worrying, wondering, thinking about the next day, feeling nervous, feeling anxious. This, I think, really helps that wind down. And I also like to set an intention for the next day. It might be to eat mindfully, it might be to practice love towards myself, it might be to, you know, treat strangers with the kindness that I would like to be treated with. You know, who knows what my intention might be for the next day. It really comes to me in that moment, but I think it's quite nice to have an intention for the next day that feels true to yourself. So then, once I've done all these things, I am very much ready for bed. I will sometimes take a little bit of magnesium in a glass of water that I will sip on just before bed. I try not to drink too much water before I sleep, because I don't want to get up in the night peeing. So just a tiny little bit of water with some magnesium powder, which helps relax muscles. I find it helps ease me into a nice deep sleep. And I try and keep the room nice and cool as well as dark. So a thin layer at the moment, it's summer, obviously a more warmer duvet in winter. And then I head off to sleep. I'm a naked sleeper. I do wear pajamas lounging around, but then I'll probably take them off and get nudie. That's just how I like to sleep. I think it's about experimenting and finding out what works for you. I also like to put a pillow between my knees. I started doing it when I was pregnant, and now I just can't imagine sleeping without a pillow between my knees. It's just become second nature to me. I was always a front sleeper. I always slept on my tummy before I was pregnant. And I know it's not very good for your neck, because you're constantly like so I'm glad that I'm hopefully improving and making a sort of shift towards having a sort of better alignment in bed. And then I try and sleep for around 8 hours. I find that's a really good amount of time for me. And I wake myself up with a Philips alarm clock, which is like a light alarm clock, which slowly wakes me up. I find that's really calming. I often actually wake up before my alarm around sort of 6 o'clock, 6:15. Sometimes, well, quite often Shay wakes me up with a few squeaks in the morning. And honestly, I feel so much more restored having this. I think I'm not spending so much time in bed, tossing and turning, not being able to switch my brain off. So I really hope that these tips really help you, because it is horrible having insomnia. It is horrible not being able to get to sleep. And I do think that we're expecting a lot from ourselves to be going from fast-paced, crazy busy life to sleep. They are two polar opposites. So we need this middle time, this wind down routine. You know, take a few elements of mine, throw in some of yours. Maybe you're going to do a magnesium bath. Maybe you're going to have a hot shower because that heats your body up and then cools it down before you go to bed. Maybe you're going to do some light stretches or go for a walk outside. Like, you know, we're all so individual, but I want you to take on some of these tips and to try and give yourself maybe half an hour to an hour of wind down before you go to bed, and just see how it transforms your sleep, transforms your energy, transforms your life. I would absolutely love you to give this a go and then leave me a comment down below and let me know if it has made a difference in your life, because I know it has in mine. If you haven't already, do subscribe to my channel, give this video a big thumbs up, comment down below, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.